What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Hope you guys had a good week. Just a little bit cooler a couple days this week, which was a nice change of pace. But in today's video, we're gonna be doing a couple things to the black car, which I'm sure as you've noticed, this car has a carbon fiber hood, not unlike the yellow car, but people get carbon fiber hoods for a multitude of reasons. Obviously, some of them do it because it looks amazing. I think all of us can agree that the exposed carbon look is spectacular. Sometimes people get a carbon hood for the functionality purposes of having vents within the hood to extract some of the heat from underneath the hood, as if you're adding a turbo or anything that's creating more heat. But another reason that some people will get a carbon fiber hood is obviously for the weight savings. The factory hood is made of steel. It is definitely much heavier than the carbon fiber hood. But in turn with that, a lot of modern cars nowadays have, systems that allow the hood to lift on its own when you pop the hood, which is super convenient, but they don't always work out once you switch over to a carbon fiber hood because, the weight difference between the factory hood and a carbon fiber hood. So what I've done on this car, and what I think a lot of people do without doing something sort of custom, is they'll use their factory hood strut as basically a hood prop in this scenario to still be able to lift the hood up and keep it raised, but not have to just stand there and hold it without a prop or anything. So I'll show you what I've been doing with this car since I put the carbon fiber hood on, and then what we're going to be trying to resolve with that today. All right guys, like I was saying, typically when you pop the hood, you would release the secondary latch, and then this would raise on its own by the gas hood strut. Now what I've done is I just keep my gas hood strut with the bottom connected to the factory location, but I also don't have this connected. I'll just raise the car and set it in there. Now I've got the prop, but if there was a gust of wind, say you were on a dyno or at a car show, car meet, wind hits this and pushes the hood up, now this prop has fallen down and the hood is going to fall down as well, or try to raise up even more. So it's not locked in, it's less than ideal, but this is to get away from putting unnecessary strain on the carbon hood, because this factory hood prop is rated to, I think, around 72 pounds of force. And this carbon hood weighs maybe 20, 25 pounds, so significantly less. So even if I tried to push down, you see it wants to shoot back up very aggressively because this is much stronger than what's needed. So there have been a couple of people that have done group buys of kits that create a dual strut on the sides there. So you've got two short ones on the sides that give an even amount of pressure to both sides of the hood. But what I was able to find, what we're going to be installing today, is a hood prop that mounts in the factory locations on the hood and in the engine bay. It's the same length as this one, but just downsizes the amount of force built into the gas strut. That's more ideal for a carbon fiber hood. So in order to do that, obviously we need that part, so let's go ahead and grab that now. And here is the replacement gas strut. I will put a link in the description of the video for the part number of this gas strut. This one's made for like truck tonneau covers and stuff like that. It is rated to 25 pounds of force, or 25, 26 pounds of force, which is obviously much less than the 72 that's rated from the factory one. Now the only difference between this one and this replacement is this strut here is a little bit wider. That's not a problem whatsoever. But on the actual mounting hinge on the top here, this one comes up and angles back a little bit to help to account for the angle of the hood. This one, if you'll notice, is straight on the top. Now, it still will latch in and not create any issues. It's just when you go to install it, you have to be mindful that you won't be able to fully click it in with the hood in its raised position. You will have to lower the hood or clip the top end first and then get the bottom in order to install this properly. So we'll go ahead and do that now. In order to remove this one, you'll need a little flathead screwdriver. I'll show you on this one. But basically, there's these little C-clips. You just put a flathead in there and then you'll turn and pry it, and that will release the inside from the ball that it clips onto and allow you to pull it off. So with the top ring just sitting in that ball, obviously that's not a problem. Just be mindful of releasing this, and the hood's gonna wanna fall. So let me do that. Just like that, it's removed. So like I was saying, you can do it this way. If you install the top one, you just push it in and see now it's fully clipped in. And then you just have to finagle this in down here, fully in there. It will just push in and clip in. If you were to connect the bottom first and then you try to push the top in, it will not fully latch onto that ball. So you'd have to lower the hood down until it's in a more flat position like so, and then just push up on it and make sure that that clip is fully seated. But now, with the much less force being applied through this gas strut, you can close the hood. It does not create any unnecessary or excessive force on one side. And when you go to release it, see, it still is not even enough to really want to push it up aggressively. So it's nice, you'll be able to open the hood. Once you get to about here, you see it holds it. Give it a little bit of help, and it will raise it on its own. But the big thing here is having the top locked in place. So, you know, if there's any stuff pushing on it, it's not gonna just disconnect and the hood's gonna go wherever the hood wants to go at that point. You get away from having that every single time. You put the hood prop in, and it's just definitely a lot more convenient. There are ways, like I said, you can get around with doing a dual hood strut conversion, where they basically add a bracket to the hood mounting points, and then they replace this middle 10 mil for the fenders and create two little hood struts on the backs there. That's something I may, do a video on how to do in the future, but I think this achieves the goal that I was looking at, which is just making it easier. You're also going to go ahead and raise the hood. It holds it there. No problem whatsoever to lower it down. So, like I said, I will be putting the part number for this in the description of the video. I actually picked up a 2-pack on Amazon, which is nice, so I wanted to test it on this car, obviously. And then now I've got another one for the yellow car over there, since I have a very similar setup on that one that I previously had in this with the hood prop. Now, that one's carbon fiber hood did not have a mounting place in the factory location for that factory ball that you would remove from the OEM hood. So I will have to drill and put a little 10 millimeter ball fitting in on that hood to run it in this way. But I thought I'd share my findings of this. Still you can close the hood no problem. When you pop the hood, it's not gonna change anything. Obviously that sounds much more aggressive when you have a carbon fiber hood. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that, but popping the hood with a carbon fiber hood is much more aggressive of a sound because it's a lighter hood. But like I said, you just raise it. It will get to about there. You actually go a little bit higher, and now you don't have to worry about your hood coming off of the hood prop. So that's one thing done that I was trying to achieve today, and glad I got that resolved. Lastly, just going to replace one of these coupler clamps for my intercooler piping. So I'll show you what's going on over there. So here's the obviously intercooler piping, the coupler that comes onto the throttle body. Normally there I would use a T-bolt clamp like what I've used on all the rest of the intercooler piping. Now I took the car out last week and couldn't even get more than like 9 pounds of boost before this coupler was popping off of the throttle body. So, I put it back on, tried tightening it. These things are not the greatest sometimes. I don't know if you can tell. They strip out the threads and then they don't have enough force to hold them on. So I got the car home, temporarily put a ring gear clamp on there, but that's obviously not going to be my permanent solution. So I did get some more clamps. I'll show you which ones I actually got. I got a couple of different styles. So, you know, typically, like I said, I'll use the T-bolt style, which the ones that I had been using were just a cheap Amazon one. These Evil Energy are still, you know, Chinese special, but more of a name brand, and I've had better luck with Evil Energy's products in the past as well. So I did get 4 replacement T-bolt clamps, very similar style to the one that I had previously, just to have some backups in case this happens in the future. Try to keep backups of all my T-bolt clamps and V-band clamps, but I just had run out last weekend when the one that I was running was failing. But I did switch out and purchase another design as well, which is these ones right here. Still a bolt, but instead of having a nut, there's this threaded insert here. It is lined with this rubber lining, which I think will be a little bit better for silicone application. It's a little bit wider of a strap than this style clamp. And obviously, as you twist this bolt, it's pulling that threaded insert in and tightening it. So hopefully this will have a better grab and have more resistance to twisting that nut past the point of being able to clamp the strap and then just pulling the threads out. With this being a much bigger bolt, I don't know if you can tell, much thicker threads and bigger bolt than on the normal T-bolt clamp style. So I think I'm gonna try this one out, and I'll be sure to update if I have any concerns with it. The only difference is I'll have to figure out what size socket I need to keep in the car now for this in case I ever need to remove it. These ones for the throttle body one, I've always had an 11 mil. All the rest of mine are 10s. So we'll have to see what size this is. Let's go ahead and get that installed now. All right, guys, so to start off, we'll have to remove this ring gear clamp, which is an 8 mil. Just put that on there temporarily so that it wasn't open. Always good to have a set of ring gear clamps just in case you need to get out of a pinch, but I don't like running these on the silicone because they can chew it up as seen here. I did have to run some temporarily on that part, and they do have a tendency to chew up the silicone. But now I've got the new clamp. This is a 13 millimeter, which is nice because I actually already keep a 13 millimeter in the car, just because that's the same size for my V-band clamp down there for the turbo in case I ever need it. So let's find a 13 mil. Make sure this is loosened. And then we'll just slide it over that coupling like so. Push that back onto the throttle body. Typically I'll try to get these clamps, obviously the ones that aren't lined in the rubber, underneath these studs on the throttle body to get a really good surface seal on the coupler. But with this, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do that since it's lined in the rubber. It won't be as slim to get under there. But I think having the wider strap will resolve any concerns there. So go ahead and tighten this up. I'll try that. Just snug it up with a ratchet so I can get a better feel for how much force we've got clamping on this. Still see that it's tightening, so that's nice. Now I'm starting to get more resistance. Okay. Just give it a little tug. Make sure it's tight, it's not wanting to pop off. Now you can, if you have this loose, you know, you're building boost, you can have a boost leak through a loose connection there. So that's what I noticed at first last week when I took the car out. I was like doing a pool and I was only making like 9 pounds of boost, and I was like, what's going on? Tried turning the boost controller up a little bit to see what the issue might have been, and then you get on the throttle and you hear, and you know, it blew a coupler off. So I actually like the look of this probably a little bit more than the T-bolt style. I think this is a very clean look. I know there are some other clamps that I was looking at that are billet aluminum clamp. I think they would look nice as well if they're a little less room for adjustment as far as sizing. These have a pretty wide range of clamping force or clamping size as far as the diameter of what you're putting them on. Those are a little more specific to a certain size. I think this one right here will get the job done. Just make sure that that is tight, and the rubber lining here is not going to damage that silicone at all. So yeah, that thing is tight. Doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. So I think we can call that a job complete. And the nice thing is, we'll be able to just close the hood so easily. I'm telling you, if you tried to put the factory one on and close it, it's very difficult. You feel like you're gonna break something trying to push down on this hood with the factory strut. So having this 25-pound one is definitely much nicer. You know, you just open the hood like normal, and there it is. Well guys, I'm gonna call that a job complete. We got this clamp replaced, so hopefully I won't have any more issues with that coupler popping off or any sort of boost leaks through a loose clamp. And then we did get this hood prop replaced with the 25-pound one. It's better rated for carbon fiber hood's weight. Here, I just wanted to show you that's where it clips in there with that C-clip, and then up here. I will have the part number for that in the description of the video, but it's nice to be able to just close the hood, and then if you want to open it, just lift it up and it stays, rather than, you know, doing something custom on the two sides over here. But that's pretty much going to do it for this video. Those are a couple things I wanted to get taken care of on the Black Gen, test out that prop, and I'll be installing the spare one that I purchased as well for this car. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any suggestions on other clamps for silicone couplers that you think are a little more beauty rated and look a little bit nicer under the engine bay, but also do a great job of keeping everything clamped, which is my biggest concern. I hate having to deal with couplers popping off. Obviously something like a vibrant clamp would be ideal, but for anything that's rated for silicone couplers, be sure to put that in the comment section below, and I'll catch you on the next video.